If your kitchen renders feel a little off, like you just can't quite figure out why they don't look real, you're probably making one of these 4 mistakes. They are small details, but they completely change how your scene feels. And once you notice them, you'll never unsee them. I'm going to take you step by step through this kitchen render and show you exactly what I mean. Alright, so mistake number 1 is ignoring real world proportions. This is kind of the number one reason why a render feels uncanny. Everything might be textured beautifully, lit beautifully, but if your proportions are out of whack, then it's just not going to look right, and the viewer will subconsciously notice this. Realism starts with proportions. Architects obsess over this, not only because it's functional, but also scale makes things just feel right. For example, if your bench tops look like they're made for a giant, or if you're going to bump your head on the overhead cabinets, it's time to check your proportions. In most cases, the top of the bench top should sit around 900 millimeters above ground level. The depth should be between 700 to 800, and the height of the overhead cabinets to the bench top should be at least 600 millimeters. And that's exactly what grounds everything. It's proportions that match what our bodies expect. And once the proportions are solid, then you can start layering in the realism. Similar to proportions, another mistake I see people make is forgetting the toe kick. So this 75 by 100 mil detail does a lot of heavy lifting, no pun intended. Without it, your cabinetry kind of looks like it's hovering awkwardly above the floor. It gives the scene depth and also functionality. If you're preparing food, your feet actually need to slide a little bit underneath the bench top, otherwise you're going to hurt your back. It's not something that a lot of people notice, but it's very important, and I recommend you have a look at your own kitchen to see where you've got toe kicks. It might not be everywhere, but it should be most places. And visually, it gives your cabinetry a sense of weight and grounding. And it's just one of those things that you only really notice when it's missing. And while we're adding in realism, let's talk about one thing that a lot of kitchen renders completely miss, and it gives your cabinetry a lot of detail and realism. So mistake number 3 is not adding depth or shadow gaps to your cabinetry. Flat cabinetry is one of the best ways to mess up your render and just make it not feel very realistic. In reality, panels have depth. They catch the light, they create shadow, and they just show off the craftsmanship of the cabinetry. Even a tiny 2mm gap is enough to bring realism to your render. Your brain might not notice it, but subconsciously it just feels right. And that's a strong theme between all of these ideas. You just might not notice when they're not there, but you know that something feels off. And this is definitely one of those things. So now that your model looks real, let's make it feel real. And make sure to stay till the end because I've got another bonus tip for you. Mistake number 4 is treating lighting as an afterthought. Lighting is everything. Even if your model is perfect with its scale, proportion, and functionality, flat lighting will just completely kill any feeling within your render. Think about it, you've modeled something with a lot of time and effort and energy. It's worth it to show that off in the best possible manner that you can. And that's where good lighting comes in. It's really important that you think like an architectural photographer. You're almost putting on different hats when you work through your scene. And that's kind of the reality. You are doing so many different jobs. So right now, we're going to think like an architectural photographer. And it's really important to notice that they're not lighting things evenly. They're bringing your attention to the focal points within the room, the specific design features that the architect has designed. I often recommend that you don't use interior lights when it's a day scene because it can just look a bit flat and uncanny. But one exception to that is your splashback. I often and pretty much always put a splashback light in, even if it's a day render. It adds a lot of warmth and immediately creates a focal point for your eye to be guided towards. With this, you're not just illuminating the room, you're shaping the atmosphere. And on that note, you could try creating a contrast between the cooler exterior sunlight that comes in and your warm feature lights. It adds a lot of just natural balance that is often missed within interior renders. And with that, your lighting should be nailed. Now it's all about restraint. So the bonus tip is about material restraint and cohesion. And this one's more artistic. but it's just as important. In essence, limit yourself to 3 materials, no more. Too much variety and your render can look chaotic. Restraint with your materials can make it feel designed, not decorated. Let one material be the main hero of this render, and let the other 2 support it. It's a really easy way to make your render feel sophisticated and high-end. Whenever you look at these amazing architectural designed homes, they're often very simple and minimal. They're not over the top. And that's a really important thing to focus on to make your render feel high-end. Less variety equals more focus. So if your kitchen renders have been feeling off, focus on the basics. Fix your proportions, add that toe kick, add depth to your cabinetry, and then focus on the lighting. And lastly, you just want to make this scene come together with only a few key materials. So if you're just starting out, you can actually see how I modeled this kitchen render in the video in the description. And if you're wanting a bit of feedback with your work, you can actually jump on my free Discord. There's a link in the description. You can share your work with an amazing community of passionate ArchViz artists, and I really look forward to seeing you there. I'm Oliver Higgins. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very shortly in the next one. Cheers.